Hey,
Hey,
hello again.
hi again. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, of course. Thank you for, coming on. Thank you for spending a little time with us. How are you today,
Yeah,
Gloria?
absolutely fantastic.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Ama- Yes.
yeah.
The sun is shining.
It is Caribbean and thing,
Oh, of course. Of course.
And that's almost a given for us.
Hmm. And
Yeah,
I always love having conversations with you because you remind me, of some of my family members. I have yet to come to Jamaica, but my mom, she's from Jamaica. We have family that were in Jamaica, and yeah, it's one of the places that is definitely high on my list. Yeah.
oh, yes, yes, yes. When you come, I'm sure you're gonna in the back of your head, it's gonna be okay. Let me put myself together because I'm gonna move here for a year or so.
It's that
It,
seductive, right? It pulls you in.
yeah, it does that to everyone.
Hmm.
You know, yeah,
My
it
goodness.
has that magic.
Yes. Yes, very, very magical, I'm sure. And just, for those who don't know you, and for those if this is their first time seeing you, Gloria, what would you say, or how would you describe yourself when you speak of, who you are?
Wow, that's interesting. Now that you ask, it's like, how do I describe myself? It changes from time to time,
Hmm.
but overall, in terms of what I know about myself, I will say, on the big picture, I'm a light being,
Hmm.
and I I work with light, if you will,
Hmm.
and um, on my journey, I've discovered a way of wellness
Hmm.
that uses light to heal, to nourish, to nurture, to uplift.
Hmm.
And so I experiment on myself, and it's the way I live, and it works beautifully.
Hmm.
So that's part of me exploring light. That's where I am now.
I
Yeah,
love that. I love that,
yeah.
Gloria. Exploring light, you know, a student of life, nourishing and flourishing, and finding a way of wellness. I love how you put that way of wellness. You know,
Yeah,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yeah. One things I found on my journey is that there's so many ways to wellness, if you will.
Hmm.
And so the way I live and what I offer people is just one way,
Hmm.
one of the many ways.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So like people have said, there's many paths to go up a mountain, many different roads that lead up to the same point. What is the one way that you enjoy offering people that come to you, on retreats and at your wellness center, things like this?
What's the one way? What I found is like the one way is is the way of light, and then it has little, little facets, like it's a tree,
Hmm.
and there are branches, or like your body, and there are the limbs and everything. So
Hmm.
for me, in this way of light, I work with is the sunshine, sun gazing, sunbathing, water, the beach or a river, the beach for grounding in, barefooted in the earth,
Hmm.
the raw foods, because it's lighter on the body and it's foods that has light in it,
Hmm.
and qigong,
Yeah.
you know energy harnessing, bringing in more light into the body, that sort of thing, and kemetic yoga, which is also another. My yoga trainer said it is black qigong. Kemetic yoga is black qigong. So,
Hey.
those, yeah, I use those. And fasting. Hello, hello, hello. Can't do it
Yes.
without fast.
Yes. Yes.
So those are pillars.
Indeed. So these are like pillars. So they're like the pillars that are like the foundation. They hold up the foundation, the pillars.
Yes, yeah, they're pillars. Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Okay.
they are really. So I
Okay.
work with all of those. For me, like what one of the things I found is that it wasn't just a one thing, like one column creating this. It had, you know, those were the things that that help along the way. You bring them all in, you know, and they work wonderfully. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. And
totally. Yeah.
one of the columns that you've created for yourself, you know, the rituals and routines like barefooting and comedic yoga, you mentioned sun gazing. And, you know, it's interesting when you talk about sun gazing because, you know, we live in a time, we live in an age where there's a lot of information to avoid the sensation of the sun, you know, to avoid the vibration of the sun. You see people, you know, wearing sunglasses, you know, you see people wearing sunblock, sunscreen, you know, and you see people wearing a lot of things to block out that light. But what encouraged you or what inspired you to actually open your eyes toward the sun and do something that was very opposite to a lot of people?
One of the things I found is that a lot of things we learn is like we have to unlearn. So yeah, I did learn all of that and stay out and what have you, what have you, what have you. But I found that the more I was into the sun, is the better it was for me. I always felt better. It didn't matter what was happening. And for me to like come into myself, I'd have to find the sun. So, you know, it kind of just led to that. And you sit there and you look into it, you hear other things, other people might watch a YouTube video. I've been sun gazing for like years, over 10 years, maybe 15 or so years. You know, so some YouTube video and people will talk about it and everything. And I just do it for myself and I realize it works. One thing that it does for me that I really, really love is it allows me to see different spectrums of one color. Like, for example, normally you'd see green and you might see two shades of green. I practice a sun gazing and think you start seeing 12, 13 shades of green. And
Wow.
every beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Reds are vibrant and alive. So you'd just look about you in a maybe you're in nature and there are different trees. And all of a sudden it's like you're in a fairy tale, like one of those little cartoons with fairy tales and stardust. That's what you see around you after a sun gazing session. And I love beauty. So I gravitate towards those things, you know? Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Like a fairy tale. That's amazing, Gloria. That's amazing. Just the way you describe it and, you know, painting that picture of the spectrum, you know, seeing 13 shades of green. I never heard of that.
Yes, yes, it does that. It does that. Yeah.
Wow.
And one of the things I found with sun gazing too, like you can look straight, like I do retreats, right? And that's part of it. And I find, you know, our retreats are 8 days and it is something that everybody enjoys for the 7 days because the first day you don't get a chance. And everybody enjoys going out and doing that. You look directly in the sun. It can be intimidating for a newbie or what have you, you know, that rising sun there. But you can close your eyes and just hold your face right there. You're going to get it just the same. And that's what my husband does. He does it all the time. And he closes his eyes and just look to the sun.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. So
Yeah.
even if your eyes are closed, even if you have your eyes closed towards the sunshine, letting it come into your eyelids, that still counts? That still works?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
It does. Yeah. Because sometimes if, you know, like you have a weather condition and there's a glare, you know, it's a little obscure. It can be a little uncomfortable on the eyes. So you just close your eyes and do that.
Okay. Okay. And do you recommend certain times of the day where somebody might want to sun gaze? Are there any specific times you would recommend?
Sunrise, sunset is excellent. That early morning period, like maybe if say the sun comes up at 6:30.
Okay.
So anywhere between 6:30, 8 o'clock is good.
Mm-hmm.
And like maybe up to 2 hours up to sunset is excellent for newbies.
Okay.
If you are, you know, if you're a seasoned veteran in this thing, any time of day is great. Midday is absolutely amazing. It's a different story happening at midday.
Wow.
You know?
Wow. Wow. And you know, how would you describe what it is that you're changing, you know, within your retina or your pupils or your irises? Like, is it like a muscle that you're exercising to be able to see things differently, things that were already there but that we are unaware? Like, what is actually happening?
Wow. Now that you ask, I'm a little at a loss, but I would say you get enlightened. You're enlightened to that there is more to life than what you've been taught.
Mm-hmm.
You're enlightened to more, there's more about you, even your body and what it can do and what it can absorb, and you know what it can handle more so than you'd know before.
Right.
You know, and it really helps you to connect to yourself.
Okay.
You know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. So it sounds like to me, Gloria, just from listening to you, that you know you become more enlightened the more light comes in. You know, the more you lighten up, the more light comes in, and the more you become enlightened.
Yes. Yes, I will say that. That is true. And this is talking from my personal experience. Everybody has their own experience, but this is what I realized. You get so much more clarity, kind of like how to guide your life, how to be, you know, just guide your life, kind of like follow your soul.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like your soul comes alive and say, hey, this is what I like, this is what I enjoy, let's go, you
Okay.
know.
Okay.
So,
Food for the soul. It's soul food.
it is soul food. It's soul food. It
Okay.
is soul food here. Yeah, yeah.
I love I love this. So, you know, how does it go hand in hand with the practice of Kemetic yoga, which you said, you know, is like black yoga? It sounded almost Egyptian, the way
It,
that you said.
yeah, you know, Kemet is, before there was Egypt, there was Kemet. So it was an ancient black civilization, right? So Kemetic yoga is basically the postures we're seeing on the walls and are still there on the walls of the pyramids of Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
And so they basically developed a system around it, and it is all about harnessing energy.
Mm-hmm.
So all the energy harnessing postures are in it. It's a slow, formatted way of moving, very precise, very focused,
Mm-hmm.
and moving the body in certain ways in order to harness energy. And all of it is using the breath. So,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So you're
And I enjoyed it. I made sure that I trained in it because
mm-hmm.
over the years before I trained in it, I'd done a lot of different yoga. I was always drawn to yoga, so I did a lot of yoga. And every time I got a chance to do Kemetic yoga, I always felt differently and I couldn't understand what that was. And so, you know, I said, one day I'm going to train Kemetic yoga no matter what. And so, you know, eventually got to that place. Yeah. But it's the energy harnessing that makes a difference. You do Qigong, right? So you know how you feel when you're doing all those energy movement postures.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. I was just about to ask you how does it compare with Qigong? If you're saying, you know, the energy harnessing, the breath and the slow movement, that sounds like Qigong as well. Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it is. So that's why, so I basically practice both. Kinetic yoga has a way of like movements that are focused on spinal twisting, you know, spinal twisting where it, what would you say now? It's nourishing, it's moving the internal organs and nourishing them and squeezing out all the old waste and what have you, and thing. And, you know, bringing in all this new light, all this new energy. So you're basically cultivating your energy field with this yoga.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful. Cultivation of your energy field. So the activation and the cultivation, raising your vibration with the field of sensation. You know, it's interesting, Gloria, because, you know, a lot of people, when they talk about energy, or when people feel that they gather their energy or receive more energy, people usually think about, you know, the energy from consumption, you know, the energy from food or the things that they eat, or, you know, energy regained when you go to sleep, you know. But when it comes to other forms of energy, like some people say they get their energy from their coffee or their caffeine or what have you, energy drinks, right? We have energy drinks now, that's very popular. But when it comes to harnessing light energy, you know, that kind of energy that's very subtle, when did you start to learn about harnessing light energy? And what did you have to retrain or reframe, or as you put, unlearn, you know, to be able to come into this lifestyle?
You know, when did I start? I have a past where I'd gotten sick, and then after that, coming out of it with all the treatments I got and the drugs infused in my body and everything, I was constantly fatigued for years and years and years, and pain, pain, pain. And my thing became, I need to feel vitality. I need to feel alive. And so I just prayed and searched and looked and asked and, you know, went in on meditations and everything. And I found Elitom Elamine, you know, and his breatharian message. And I just knew from my heart, I just knew that, hey. And so I did one of his retreats in 22, I think, no, not 2020. Okay. 2020, I did one of his retreats. And that was where I learned about, you know, this air that we're living in with all these different spectrums of light and everything like that, and how we can actually live on this thing. And for me, that was just amazing, because it went against that, you know, you need food for energy, and I was following that path. I had a raw food lifestyle. Well, I do have a vegan lifestyle, and that is like maybe 30 years or whatever. But as majority raw vegan, and I found that whenever I was raw, I felt better, but there was more. There was always more. It's like the more you go in, it's like, and as you age, it's like you have to keep stripping things away. You have to start peeling off layers. So where raw food was the nirvana for me at one point, it became I needed something more after a while. So when I started this, and, you know, learning, and then, you know, you're bringing the practices, and I used to fast, but I'd fast in seasons. So I started to fast once a week and that kind of thing. I started to really see a difference in how I was feeling and realizing that, yeah, it's true. You really have to take it a step. It's like a ladder. And as you go up one rung, there's another rung in front of you, and it's an endless ladder. But you just take your time wherever you're at, and you just move up, and, you know, that's what happened for me. That's how I discovered light.
Okay.
And yeah.
Thank you for that testimony, Gloria. You know, thank you for just talking about the beginnings of this lifestyle, you know, this light lifestyle. Because when you're talking about fasting and, you know, giving the body a rest, giving the body a break, I mean, like I said, I've never been to Jamaica, but I can only assume that Jamaica is very big when it comes to food. You know, when it comes to food, there's a lot of food in Jamaica that I know that my parents, you know, put me on, like when I was younger, they talked about the ackee and saltfish, or the oxtail, the this and that. There's so many different forms of food in Jamaica. So being in
Yeah.
Jamaica, like, you know, stepping away from food, were there ever any challenges in your environment or in the people around you? Did you ever feel any resistance or any friction when you step back from food?
When you say with the people around me, meaning people's reaction or my own?
Yes, yes. People's reaction and your own, you know.
Um, in my own, I never had a problem way back before I had a vegan diet. I stopped eating meats because it used to make me so tired, so very fatigued.
Mm-hmm.
So I stopped eating meat. So I had that journey. So for me now, it was moving from vegan, raw vegan to the breatharian. And that's where my challenge came, because there are times I was like, food, I want to try it, I want to do it because it works, but I also love food. I think about food every day, every minute, all day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all when I'm fasting, I fast every Monday. So
Mm-hmm.
like last night now, I'm thinking about Tuesday and what I'm going to eat when I break my fast. And, you know, I do things like that. So I love food and everything. So that's where my thing was. But I have leveled out to a point now where, you know, as I stick to my fruits and veggies, and I keep it as, you know, liquid as possible, and it works beautifully for me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the resistance, yes, with friends and what have you, they couldn't understand. And then I had to get up, you know, and announce myself breatharian. And, you know, people are like, no, breatharians live in the Himalayas, believe it or not. People who have that knowledge of breatharian, they link Himalayas and breatharian as one thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't be breatharian and anywhere else. And there was resistance in my family. My husband wasn't thrilled at all. He just couldn't understand it. And I have a tendency to be extreme. When I go into something, I go in. I don't, you know, I don't
Mm-hmm.
toe the line at all. And so I went, you know, and it's you're going into your extremity again, and it's not. And then when I did start, I shed the whole heap of weight. And even for myself, it wasn't attractive at all, I'll be honest. And it became an issue, you know, so I had to keep, but then I realized that this thing was making me feel so good. And my whole thing was live inside my body, be connected to my body, and feel good. I got past the stage of looking good to feeling good, you know, and was that this thing works for me, but how do I make it work where I'm balanced and I am attractive in the process? You know, so I think I found my line.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think I found the balancing line, that equilibrium right there. And I don't tell people I'm breatharian anymore. I just I just follow I just follow my path. I just do my thing. But I
Yeah.
do talk about, like lately I talk about nourishing on light,
Mm-hmm.
because you know, and as we said, the light coming in so many ways, how you're bringing in this nourishment in the food, and how you're bringing it in with the breathing, and how you bring it in with the different things. So,
Right.
you know, I think I found my niche, my little corner right there. And yeah.
Yes, yes. Thank you for that. You know, thank you for that testament, you know, that testimony of finding your balance, finding your equilibrium, you know, finding what feels true for you, you know, what feels good for you, what feels alive for you, the feeling that you're thriving and not just surviving, you know. And as you're
Mm-hmm.
driving, you know, I don't blame you, Gloria, for not telling people, you know, for not letting people know, because that usually isn't the greatest conversation that we want to be having, you know?
Yes, yes, you've been there, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. So, and
Yeah.
you know, I found that I'm sure that you found as well that as long as you don't mention it, people don't realize. You know, nobody really realizes what you're doing if you don't tell them what you're doing. It's only when you start to tell them what you're doing that they start to ask questions. You know, they're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
wait, so you're not doing this, you're not having that, you're not eating this. Wait, how are you alive? How are you, you know? So
Yeah.
so many
Yeah.
complications that come in with those conversations. So I definitely agree with you there. And you know, as you were speaking earlier, Gloria, you mentioned briefly about being sick, and I remember that you had told me at one point, I think it was in 97 or 98, that you were going through, was it lymphatic cancer?
Yeah. Wow, your memory is great.
I
Wow.
mean,
Yeah.
so I mean,
Yeah.
just anybody who for anybody who doesn't know too much about that and has never experienced that, you know, how would you even describe it?
Okay. I've always said, well, lymphatic cancer is a blockage in the lymphatic system. You know, the lymphatic system basically takes the waste out of the body.
Mhm.
So when there's that blockage, the waste is not going anywhere. So it builds up into pockets, if you will, in different parts of the lymph clearing areas. And, you know, so a cancer develops right there. So the whole point is to get the lymphatic system clear and, you know, everything moving again. So my lymphoma was what was it? Hodgkin's,
Mhm.
and it was a stage 3. And back then, 97 through 98, I didn't know. Um, I didn't know the treatment that was offered was chemotherapy and radiation, and I didn't know anything about it, about that. I just wanted to get well. So I went that route, and people talk about hell. Those treatments are hell. Always tell anybody, cancer never nearly killed me. The treatments, oh, they wasted me. Being alive today is a miracle from those treatments. And so I personally, you know, I get very, like I know of people who are diagnosed. It's something I speak against. I'll tell people, no, don't. Find another way, find an alternative way, because you know, going through those treatments and the horrors, it was like a holocaust for me. And then coming out of it is like still like you're coming out of a fog for how many years? We're talking about 98. Are we talking about me here now? You know, you're coming out of a fog kind of thing. And the complications that come with it. There's always something because it devastates the body, it kills all the cells, and then things get affected over the years. Another thing I've found is that if you have a situation with cancer and you do like these treatments, chemo and radiation, if you don't change your lifestyle and change it radically, you are going right back to that cancer and you're going back to the worst kind eventually. You don't really have a quality of life, no matter what anybody say. You might be alive, but you don't have a quality of life. You know that when I say quality of life, I mean feel good in your body, vitality, clarity of mind, cognizance. There, there, there's a lot of things that are affected. Me, I had some serious memory loss. There was a time, just quickly, I'll say, um, I, I did my radiation treatments in Jamaica and I did chemotherapy in New York. In Jamaica, I have this friend, and she said that how she used to come to radiation treatments with me in at the KPH. And I said, that's a lie. Why would she lie like that? But she said it in a crowd, and she said it more than once. I was like, why would she tell such a lie? Let me tell you something. I journal, so I'd write down everything. One day I'm going through my journals and I saw where I wrote that this girl used to come to treatments with me. And I forgot that she came, that I would say, why would she lie about something like that? I didn't say anything to her or anything, I just asked myself. But why I shared it is because I'm saying the level of memory loss.
Mm-hmm.
So like for me, it was picking up through the years. And I know the lifestyle change is what really like bring a comeback, like basically build a new being, if you will, I know that I have a light thing, a lifestyle of living on light, nourishing on light. And I know that you can speak because your cells really feed on light. So you can speak to them, speak words of light. You can speak to your cells and bring about change. You can reprogram the DNA, tell it nice new words. I am courage. I am joy. I am love. And let them little things just move through the body, move it through the breath, circle them like a macroscopic orbit through the body and change things. It happens maybe slowly over time, but if it is a lifestyle for you, you change things over time,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing myself. So
Yes. Yes. Wow, Gloria, thank you for sharing that, and I can only imagine, like you said, like just going through hell, just going through that time and just being able to come out of that, and realizing like this life is a miracle. You're a living miracle. So, I mean, it's just amazing to even understand like how fragile things can be and to feel that even parts of your memory, like you said, picking up different pieces and to see that portions and pieces of things that you thought were one way but they were actually another way. I can only imagine how that would feel. So just thank you for your vulnerability and like just being open about that and honest about your feelings on treatments.
thank you.
Yeah, because one of the things I remember you saying as well is about with the life force, the energy work, now feeling like you almost like have a new body, that like you said, I mean, the cells are being reborn, they're being remade, they're being restructured all the time. So with your current day practices, does it feel like you have a body, today versus, years ago?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. And let me be honest. It's whole heap of work. There's a lot of work, but you know, and sometimes I get a little frustrated, you know. But but yeah, I do see, and there's always somebody who inspires. The other day I saw a reel on Instagram, and the young lady said that her following her a breath area lifestyle and working with light, doing the things, she has noticed that she has a totally different body in over a 5-year period. And I'm like, that for me was an encouragement to, you know so yeah, there are changes, in my posture. The yoga helps with that.
Mm-hmm.
And learning how to breathe properly and learning how to move energy through the body properly.
Mm-hmm.
I have areas of blockages. As I say, I'm a work in progress. Listen, I'm a work in progress.
We all
you
are,
know
myself. Well, I definitely feel the same about myself. And when it
Mhm.
comes to, being a work in progress, having these sessions, seeing your progression, and even with your chronic profession with introducing other people to this nourishing way of life, how do you feel that humanity is shifting where you see this energy lifting? Where do you feel like we are headed to, just as humanity in general, with all these practices like this popping up all over the place?
thriving planet
Mm.
where people are upright and clear-minded and thriving.
Okay.
Thriving in ways and learning that thriving don't mean what we think it means. And it don't mean having a whole heap of money. And it don't mean having a mansion. It just means living beautifully. Just being aware, I don't know, what's around you. Just living beautifully.
Mm.
Every day you wake up, it's not aches and pains, or if you do have aches and pains, you know, you don't have to run to coffee because you know that you can run to Qigong, or you can run outside in the sun, or you can go for a walk, and it changes
Right.
everything. You know, it changes everything.
Right.
Thriving,
Okay. So
having great
really,
relationships.
mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, I was saying having great relationship with your family, your neighbors, your friends, the empathy, the compassionate aspect of you, it opens up more. So, you know, there's so much beauty in it when you're thriving, I find. And I see, in all honesty, no matter what going on around, I see, because there are two aspects to everything. You have the good and the bad. You have the bitter and the sweet,
Mm.
side by side. So I choose to now look for um, the sweet part of things. And I have hope that it is changing and it will change. You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that you say, Gloria, I love that you say I have hope, you know? I love that you say,
Yeah.
I remember you used to go by Fit Mama Hope. I remember Fit Mama Hope was what you used to go by.
Yeah. So it's glow hope heaven now because you know glow for Gloria and hope heaven. I just kept it as close to my name as possible.
Yeah.
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 It was for focus intentional technology. That's what fit meant for me. And the Mama Hope was when I was doing my yoga training, a little girl, a beautiful little girl came and I said to her, "You could be my daughter." I thought she was so beautiful. And she said, "Okay, Mama." And she started calling Mama Hope on the thing. And by the time we training ended 10 days later, the whole group was calling me Mama Hope.
Wow.
And I thought it was so, you know,
Wow.
yeah.
And you said the word fit was for functional, intentional technology. What was it? Intentional technology?
Focus intentional technology.
Okay,
Yeah,
focused, intentional technology.
yeah,
I like
yeah.
that.
Because I wanted to remind myself where I was going, that I was focused and intentional. And we are a technology. The body is a technology. We know that, right? So
For sure.
that was a reminder for me.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, and speaking of hope, you know, speaking of hope, just the word itself, one of my mentors told me, Gloria, that hope is almost like you could see hope as an acronym for to holding on to positive energy. Yeah,
Wow.
holding on
Holding on.
to energy. Yeah,
I love that.
yeah.
I love that.
So, you know,
Wow.
doing with what you're doing, with what you just described, when you were talking about your vision of a positive future, your vision of a civilization that is upright, that is forthright, you know, that is, you know, a thriving society, that vision that you hold, you're holding on to positive energy, you know?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I love it. I love that. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. So, you know, with your practices and with your journey and your healing journey as well, I know that, you know, people often underestimate the factor of time and how time plays a role and time plays a factor in the degradation or even the degeneration of health, and how there's, you know, there's different sayings we have, like, you know, the healthy person has 1,000 wishes, but the sick person has just one. You know, when you're sick, all you want to do is be well again. But when you feel healthy, right, right. But when you're feeling healthy, when you're feeling that vitality, it's almost like you don't realize, or you kind of take it for granted because you're healthy. So you have so many options. Whereas when you're unhealthy, it's like your options are less. You have less options. So one thing I take for granted about the time factor that it takes to become well, you know, the time factor that it takes to actually feel that vitality again.
What do I think about the time factor?
Mhm.
I think I'm thinking that when it comes to wellness, it's it's not a it's not a little short thing. It's not 3 weeks and then hurrah. Because think about it. For the most parts, most people, when they got sick, it took a number of years to get to that stage of sickness. So in order to get well again, it will maybe take the same number of years or more. So, but when you are on that route, there are feelings that are going to come. You know, this wellness route of nature, there are feelings that are going to come that will let you know that you're on the right track. That you might not feel great. Like, for example, I still struggle with pains. But then some deep breathing exercise, and then when you feel so exhilarated when you're done, and you just feel so nice in yourself when you're done, you just know that, hey, yeah, I feel nice and I like this, so let me keep at it. You know, tomorrow morning comes and you just feel, but then you start and then you think, there's always a hope, you know? And there's a difference, like when you take some panacea, if you will, some medicine, if you will, to get well. You might feel good in that minute, but the after feelings, after hours and days of, you know, that they're horrible too. And they're horrible with no little niceness to it, really. No little niceness. So in order to numb out, you go take another one, you know? So yeah, that's why it has to become a lifestyle, Jerome. And that's like what I share with people, and you know, whatever advice or whatever I'm saying or anything, that it's a lifestyle. It's a total change, a paradigm shift, whatever you want to call it, because it's that radical. And then it becomes a lifestyle, but then you're opening up to so many aspects that are just amazing and unbelievable, you know? So why not explore that? Why not open yourself up to that adventure? You know?
Right. I love that word, you know, just having a sense of adventure, opening yourself up to a new way of being. And you actually, you really hit home, Gloria, when you talked about, you know, the medications and, you know, the prescription drugs, the things, the over-the-counter, the over-the-table things that, you know, people take on the daily. That hits home because, you know, just observing my parents, observing people in my family that take things, they even have those things like you see the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, like all the week, the pills every day of the week, you know? And yeah.
Yeah, it, you know, and then your life becomes taking, it's a limited life, if you ask me.
Okay.
It limits you, you know, it limits you.
Okay.
I want to know more about life. I want to know more about my existence here. Why am I here? What for? What else? What can I do other than the norm, other than the mundane? You know, even for me to just sit somewhere and go into a meditation, it's going to be different. It's a different dimension I've gone in, you know, outside of what I do know. I
Mm.
want to know. I want to know what I'm capable of.
Right.
You know, I've always heard them say, oh, we use 10% of our brain. So what is that 90%? What is it? For me, it's like, what is it?
Right.
Why
Right.
10%? That's such a limit. So this big old 90% is a realm, and I don't know anything about it. I want to know
Mm.
something. So let me try 15% or 20 or whatever. Let me, as I journey, let me open up to more. That's me.
Yeah. Yes, I love that, expanding that percentage, that
Yeah.
there's a saying like the only limitation is our imagination, you know, that
Mm-hmm.
and so I love that you ask questions like that. Like why can't there be more? Like why can't we extend or feel and have a perception of increased percentage of our brain power, to learn what it feels like to use and utilize the extent of what is told to be our potential, what people say that's our potential. Well, to be
Mm-hmm.
feel that is amazing. And just even as you speak, when you're talking about I want to know things, I feel like we're the same when we come from wanting to learn, wanting to know, that having that yearning and that burning for learning. I know yourself, Gloria, when it comes to the esoteric knowledge as well, and certain things that we hear with stories. Like I remember you were saying something about the Israelites being fed with manna, and you were
Yes.
talking about, like, what is that like? What were some of the things, like with Israelites being fed with manna, and stories of old that really intrigued you and really interested you and grabbed a hold of you in that way?
It's like, for me, it's like, what is that?
Right.
And why, if that happened then, why it can't happen now? What's the difference? You know?
Hmm.
So I was intrigued by that. I was also intrigued with one of them prophets of old, the Old Testament, with the wheel. I don't remember who that is, but some wheel appeared to him, and it was a wheel of light.
Hmm.
There's another one who got caught up in this wheel of light and just disappeared. My thing is, what is that? And if it happened to them, why can't it happen to us? Why can't it happen now? What's the difference? Where were they on their journey that they were open to such a thing happening? Because if they weren't open to it, if they weren't in a certain state of mind and a state of health, it wouldn't work.
Mm.
So that means I can too,
Ah,
you know?
yes.
Yes, yes, yes. I get sometimes some things intrigue me that way,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And I love how you say that. Just why not? Just that one question can open up so many doors, you know?
Yes. Yeah, you know exactly, right? Why not? Why not
Right.
me?
Yeah. Yeah. When you say
Yeah.
why not you and why not now? Why not today? Yeah. Why not
Yeah.
this lifetime while we have,
Why not?
yeah,
Why not you? Why not no?
right.
Yeah. 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 Do you think that with these things, it's a matter of going into your imagination to connect, or what do you think?
Okay, so just as you were saying that, or as you were saying that, Gloria, so there was a question for you. Someone asked, what is mana? They were asking that as we were speaking about the Israelites in the story. Do you recall the story?
Hmm. Well, the Bible says it was food because they were taken out of Egypt and they had to go through the desert and there was no food. And God told, I think it was Moses who led them. Now, somebody might be able to correct me on this. But on this Exodus, this journey through thing, they did not have food and access to food either. And God promised that this food would come from heaven for them. And every day, this thing, they described it as like soft, like cloudy little, maybe something like cotton candy. Every morning it fell from heaven, and the people had food for the day. And it was just some food that they couldn't store it because it would spoil, but they got this food and they called it manna, a manna from heaven, you know?
Yeah.
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 These people were fed right.
So, you know,
Right.
finding meaning in manna, you know, the manna from heaven, and it's almost like they're almost pointing us to something that is already here, or something that can be realized if we, you know, see past our current perception, if we can kind of, like you said, open ourselves up to maybe not even something that is new, but something that has always been, you know, something that is true. Yeah. Yeah. So it's
Yes.
an interesting way of looking at it, you know.
Yeah. Because it exists. So it's a matter, as you said, of opening up
Mhm.
to that it exists. You
Right,
know?
right. Same as when you opened up, Gloria, with the sun gazing, just reminding me that you opened up to a new perception by doing something that was almost completely backwards from what everybody else was doing. You know, they said, don't do
Mm-hmm.
that. No, it's going to hurt your eyes. It's going to blind you. You said, no, I'm going to do the opposite. Not only, you know, is it increasing your vision, it's enhancing your vision, but you're able to see the world around you in a way that others aren't able to see, like all the different hues, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Opening up to that.
Yeah. Yeah. So these are the clues, you know, to see the different hues, to see the different sides of the spectrum. I feel like it's a beautiful,
Right.
yeah. Go ahead.
No, I said right. You're right. Being able to see the different sides of the spectrum. You're exactly right. You
Right.
know?
Right. Wow. Well, Gloria, thank you
Yeah.
just on here. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, no. I was saying I like that because you're able to experience life differently, really,
Hmm.
you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I just want to thank you again just for coming on here and speaking, you know, speaking your truth, sharing your story, sharing your love, sharing your light, and just gracing us with your energy and enthusiasm. It's one of the things that I love about you. You have such enthusiasm for living and the life that you're giving. You know, if this was someone's first time seeing you and they happen to find themselves in Jamaica, you know, could you let people know any offerings or the services that you have, anything with your retreats, or, you know, if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, what would you recommend that they do?
Okay, I have these day events now called Light Nourishment, Nourishment on Light,
Mhm.
and I do some a light meditation, maybe a Merkaba or microscopic orbit,
Mm.
and with a little qigong splashed in on it, and we do a little beach
Mhm.
relax, and some raw foods. Put that together in a little package, and 5 hours, 5 to 6 hours for the day, any day, depending on the people. And I did one this past Thursday.
Mhm.
It was just amazing, you know, especially the meditations. People come out of it like, you know, so that's what I'm doing now. And I do 4 day fasting retreats, and I do 7 day retreats called Rest to Replenish, because I found out that to replenish your energy is rest.
Mm.
The more you rest is the more you replenish.
Wow.
So I do my retreats based around that and just bringing in more energy cultivation and the raw foods and everything, because you know people have to eat. So you know, bring that in, make it the lightest way I possibly can for them, and a little fasting thrown in there, and just come out of it renewed
Mm.
and replenished, energy replenished, you know.
Yes.
So that's my number. Can I give my number?
Oh, sure, if you like. I mean, it's up to you.
Yeah, 876-340-6330. That's Jamaica. You put a 1 in front of that. And, you know, that's where I'm at. I'm on Instagram as Glow, GLOHOPE Heaven.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
You know, Gloria.
One more thing to say. The retreats I offer, you see, Jerome, it's not for everyone. I'm being honest.
Okay.
Because it takes a person who knows that they need this in their life.
Mm-hmm.
That comes. The ones who don't know that they don't need it is trouble and an energy drain. But the persons who know that this is for me and this will help enhance my life and take me forward, those, they get the best out of it.
Okay.
You know? Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for clarifying that, you know, making that distinction. And, you know, Gloria, I love the way that right before we go, I just love the way that you describe the retreat and describe these sessions and these meetups almost like a meal. It's like a meal, like a full course meal that you're getting. You're saying, okay, you got your meditation, you're sprinkling it a little qigong, you got the recipe with the ingredients, you know, a dash of comedic yoga, and a dash of you know, sun gazing, another dash of barefooting, and another dash of rest, and another dash. It's like,
Yeah.
you know.
You hit the nail on the head. It is nourishment.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, Elton always have a thing when you're doing a qigong and he'd say, this is nourishment.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
Right.
And we put in all the little dashes, as you say. It's some serious nourishment.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
For sure.
Yeah.
So this conversation has been the same, you know. Thank you for this conversation. Thank you for, you know, just putting out a positive message on your platform, letting people know they can do it, and, you know, showing people how you got through it and how you're still
Yeah.
thriving today, you know, still vibing today. So looking forward to seeing where you grow from here. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jerome. Thanks for having me. Thanks for reaching out. Thanks. You know, for me, my hope was that the divine feminine speaks through me and speaks to somebody who would benefit from the conversation. If it's just one person, that was my hope of this. And, you know, I'm really grateful that you would reach out to me, of all the thousands of people you know, to have me on your show. Much, much gratitude. Much, much gratitude. Thank you so much.
Right. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah. All
Take care.
right. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.